Well, once again, a warm welcome to you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us from across the globe. Let me now go ahead and quickly introduce our next topic, which is DFW's role in global logistics. And for the same, I would like to invite Vinod Baliga and Milton Delapez, Dave Melanfant, Steve Boking. Welcome, dignitaries, and over to you.
Thank you, Diwali, and big howdy from Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Pun intended, because I'm the CEO for Big Logistics here in town and partnered with DFW Airport in establishing a trade lane between Mumbai, Hyderabad, and DFW, not to mention some of the other airports in the world. I'd like to welcome Milton, who is the Vice President, Airline Relations for DFW Airport. And it's not enough to say that DFW is one of the busiest airports in the world. So Milton, thank you for taking the time to share your thoughts and presentation with the globe today. Joining me as a moderator in the questions is Dave Malenfant of TCU, Texas Christian University. He's going to help me ask Milton some tough questions and hopefully get good answers. Dave is also an executive supply chain leader, globally connected, consulting for a lot of pharma and supply chain companies. And of course, TCU is producing the talent that we need in this market to create a center of excellence for supply chain logistics. Without further ado, and in the interest of time, I think I would turn the mic over to Milton and his presentation. So Milton, if you would like to share your screen, we can go live.
Okay, are you able to see my screen now, everybody?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm going to go and mute now.
Okay, well, thank you for that introduction, Vinod. Big Logistics is a big partner of DFW Airport. They're a member of our IATA CEIB Pharma community, so I want to thank David. Also want to take a moment to thank Ram Biswanathan, who invited us to speak today and share a little bit of information about our airport. Let me put it in presentation mode. There we go. Okay, so one thing that we've discovered, we as an airport have made several trips around the world. We've been to India several times, and Hyderabad and Mumbai, developing, like said, our pharma trade lane between those airports and DFW Airport. And one thing that we've come notice consistently across the board is that even though we're a very large metropolitan area here in the United States, very little is known about DFW, the area. Very little is known about the state of Texas. And so we want to share some information and really show you all the richness that we offer here at DFW. So today I'm going to cover some information, an overview of Texas in general in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm going to talk about our airport specifically in our air cargo community, which is very vibrant. And with that, in the context of the logistics sector, talk about our geographical location, how important geography is in logistics, some of the advantages it offers. And then I'll talk about some cargo business initiatives we have here at the airport. So, the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan statistical area is the fourth largest metropolitan area in the country. So it's very, very significant. It has the fastest growing population among all U.S. cities. On the current trajectory we're on now, within 10 years, by the year 2030, DFW Metroplex will eclipse Chicago, being the third largest, moving into the third largest metropolitan area in the country. And I did want to talk a little bit about the Indian diaspora here at DFW Airport, and in the DFW region, excuse me. So we have a large Indian population here across many sectors, which we'll talk about later. But you can see the India subcontinent is represented by 37% of the population in Texas. And, and the Dallas-Fort Worth area has the largest Indian population among all cities in Texas. A little bit about the economy. We have very large economy in Texas and in DFW in particular, but Texas is the second largest economy of all the states in the U.S., second only to California. But as you can see by the chart on the right-hand side, it's the fastest growing economy among all economies in the country. If we look at Texas compared, based on GDP, we look at Texas compared to other economies of the world, you can see Texas was ranked number 10, very strong economy. And the DFW metropolitan area alone will rank 23 in the world if you rank it by GDP. But also, again, if you look at the growth of the DFW metropolitan area is only eclipsed by India and Ireland and China. One of the things that we're very proud of here is Texas has been ranked number 1 for best state to do business in. And it's just not last year. This has been for 10 consecutive years. Texas has been ranked number 1 by CEOs for the best place to do business. And I'm going to talk a little bit in the next few slides about the business friendly climate we have here in Texas. One of the things that resulted from this very business friendly climate is a lot of corporate relocations into Texas, in particular into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There's been 137 new headquarters that have moved since 2010 into the state of Texas. Some of the most notable ones that have relocated into the DFW metropolitan area are McKesson, the largest pharmaceutical distributor in the U.S. They moved from the San Francisco Bay Area into the DFW area just last year. And then Toyota North America moved from California as well into the DFW area, bringing big campuses, relocating a lot of families. And this is one of the drivers behind the population growth that I was mentioning in the previous slide. Why are we growing so fast? Everybody's asking me that. And a lot of it is because of the business-friendly climate and corporations relocating into the area. So again, on the theme of why Texas is so business-friendly, well, some of the most notable items are there's no state taxes in Texas. The cost of living and the housing market is relatively low compared to other metropolitan areas like Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, for example, Miami. And just a low cost of doing business overall is lower here in terms of real estate and price per square footage as well. So it's no secret, CEO Magazine has also rated Dallas number 1 in terms of best place to relocate a business. This was interesting. I wanted to share this with you because we do have a high-tech sector. I'll talk about industry diversity shortly coming up. But 1,800 companies have left California in a year, and most of them have come to Texas. Usually when you see companies relocating from in the San Francisco Bay Area, but a lot of those companies are relocating here. We just had the relocation of biolabs here into DFW area. So life sciences sector is really getting a lot of traction. So those are the three I wanted to highlight here. Here are some notable headlines in local papers about these sectors. In the very top picture, that's Pegasus Park. That's dedicated about that because that's an achievement that's worthy of mention. So on that point, DFW Airport is the largest airport in the world that's carbon neutral, and that's a big achievement that we have achieved. As of December of this year, 63 global airports are certified as carbon neutral, but DFW is the largest one. Then we also received the United Nations Global Climate Action Award winner this year. So we're the first in the aviation industry to be the winner of this climate award. Now, I would like to say that DFW Airport is now certified at the highest level of airport carbon accreditation. We're at level 4, and only one airport in the world is with us there, and that's Delhi Airport. So congratulations to Delhi Airport for achieving that as well. So a little bit about the airport. Two items I want to point out here. Well, one is that, as I mentioned, we have 7 active runways. So we have a lot of airfield capacity, and it really reduces tarmac times and times getting to cargo warehouses and just maneuvering around the airport. You don't see a lot of taxi delays here at the airport. Actually, you don't see any taxi delays at the airport. And the other one that I mentioned before is that we are an IATA Pharma CEIV certified community. As Bino mentioned, his company, Big Logistics, is one of the members in this community. and it's a great achievement. There's only 2 airports in all the US that have this IATA pharmacy CEIB community. And we do have a cold chain facility airside on the airport to accommodate perishable products and temperature and time-sensitive pharmaceutical products. Something that's important for the logistics industry, as you can all imagine, are weather impacts, weather events. So here are the top 10 airports ranked in terms of weather events. This is a combination of airports that have the most weather events and the most minutes as well. So why is this important? Because statistically, weather delays are very, very costly. So anytime you have a delay on an airport, it's just very expensive in terms of fuel consumption, fuel burn, and product, the logistics and delivery of your products. So we're not ranked among these here. So we have very, very moderate weather throughout the year, which is good for logistics and cargo business. Here's a snapshot of our current air cargo network. You can see we serve 17 of the top 25 international hubs. So I have a very extensive cargo network, especially into Asia. And we're trying to develop stronger ties with India. That's one of our goals. Even though we're in a pandemic that has really devastated the air travel industry, probably more than any other sector, we still managed to keep our domestic network intact. We're still have a large domestic network. Like Vino said, we're one of the busiest airports in the world and one of the busiest in the US with 191 domestic destinations. Why is this important? A lot of companies choose DFW because of the airport. A lot of companies choose to relocate their headquarters here because of the airport, because from DFW, you can get to any city within the United States, the contiguous 48 United States, within 4 hours or less. So it gives you a lot of access to the world, and you can go direct or single connect to any part in the world, practically from the airport. So now we're going to pivot now to our geographic and logistical advantages. Before I get in there, I just want to share this slide with you because this is, I think, very, very critical as to why we are becoming more and more a cargo-friendly airport, and we're getting that reputation around the world. We did an economic impact study of the airport, and the airport contributes $37 billion annually to the North Texas region, and 55% of that, or 20.3 billion, are generated by our cargo business. So that's very significant. So therefore, we're going to have to, we want to continue to invest in our cargo and logistics business here. So some of the advantages from a distribution standpoint, and this is very, very important because our geography kind of puts us in a position where we can have an omnidirectional distribution radius, which you can't get from the east or the west coast. So within a 2-day truck drive, you can pretty much reach 48 states across the country. Almost every state in the country you can reach, and that's about 93% of the population. And a lot of people are interested in DFW because of our proximity to Mexico, and they want to access another market. So this is what it looks like from a distribution standpoint in south of the border. So you can see from the DFW area within one day truck drive, you can get to the Mexico border. You can access all the major northern cities in northern Mexico. And then within 2 days, you can get as far down as Mexico City and Guadalajara. So within 2 days, you can get the 3 most populous cities in Mexico: Mexico City, Guadalajara, and Monterrey and Nuevo León. So that's very important access that a lot of companies are interested in for developing new markets, especially in Latin America. One of the strengths we have is, again, our proximity to the Mexico border and the largest truck border crossing on the U.S.-Mexico border in Laredo, Texas. So 66% of everything that flows across from Mexico in truck comes into DFW Airport. And so it comes in bond. So there's a lot of efficiencies there. And this is a big part of our strategy to strengthening this transborder trade with Mexico. And this is, this again, a lot of the transborder trade is in auto parts, aviation, airplane parts as well, and perishables. So some of the things that we're focused on, I just want to share some of the top priorities from a cargo business strategy perspective from DFW Airport. So one is we're focusing on the e-commerce sector. We plan to develop an infrastructure and invest in infrastructure and facilities to support international e-commerce. This has seen a lot of growth. It's seen exponential growth because of the pandemic, but it's going to even continue to grow beyond the pandemic. So this is, it has changed the way supply chains operate. So we're going to invest to become international a point of entry for international e-commerce. The other one is we're digitalizing our cargo business. I'll talk a little bit about that on the next slide. And then again, pharma. This was mentioned earlier by Bino when he was talking about developing pharma lanes. So we're going to invest in pharma handling capabilities, and so that's a big part of our future as well. And that's a big interest that we have in both Mumbai and Hyderabad. So we have also finished the master plan I'll talk a little bit about, where we're going to develop cargo facilities and infrastructure for the next 20 to 30 years. I'm going to share with you a little bit of information about foreign trade zones because it's very beneficial if you're setting up any operations in the area involving trade, and then continue connecting South Asia with Latin America as well. So the three top initiatives, as I mentioned, developing a state-of-the-art e-commerce facility here on the airport, digitalizing our cargo business, and our pharma CEIB capabilities. A little bit about our DFW Cargo Cloud, because this is very, very important. We're only one of two airports that have an air cargo community system, or a cargo cloud, if you will. The airport recognized an opportunity some time ago to digitize our processes between business partners across and the stakeholders across the supply chain. And earlier this year, at the beginning of 2020, around January, we initiated a major transformation effort to streamline paper and manual processes onto a seamless, collaborative, digital data sharing platform. So this new application-based technology is going to reduce the amount of time and paperwork required for cargo shipments coming through the airport, and it's part of our overall digital transformation strategy. One of the things that we're going to be adding to this, which has already been launched, is a dedicated slot booking application, which is going to allow truckers and freight forwarders to request and reserve dock door slot time. That's going to eliminate wait times for truckers. It's going to reduce roadway congestion around the airport and harmful emissions. One of the things that we've learned at large congested airports in the country is that truckers are often waiting anywhere from 4 to 8 hours to recover the cargo at the warehouses. So with this system, we're going to eliminate those wait times. It'll be more efficient for drop off and pick up of cargo. So, and the future enhancements, we're going to include real-time pharmaceutical tracking and monitoring capabilities, so we can ensure high levels of safety and product integrity. So the pharmaceutical products will be monitored for temperature and any deviations from temperature throughout the whole journey. We're going to continue our commitment to cold chain handling at the airport. We're going to expand. We have a cold chain facility dedicated for pharma. It has 2 dedicated chambers at 2 to 8 Celsius and 15 to 25. And we're going to be expanding these as demand triggers it, and we'll be building larger facilities on the airport with more cool chambers as well. So a little bit about what we're planning here. I just want to show you, here's an aerial map of the airport. There's two areas I want to focus on. This one in kind of like the pinkish salmon color there in the middle, called Northwest Cargo. This is an area where we'll be developing this over the next few years. We'll be erecting brand new cargo warehouses on the airport. I'll show you how that's going to be phased out. And the West Cargo area is where we have our current cargo operations right now. So in that Northwest Cargo redevelopment area I was showing you in the previous slide, phase one here you see at the top, we'll be adding about 150,000 square foot warehouse building airside, which will accommodate 3 Category 6 aircraft parking positions. And then as demand triggers, we move into phase two. In the next 5 to 10 years, we can extend the size of that building to about 240,000 square feet, and we'll add another 4 more parking positions. And then in phase three, which we anticipate to be between 10 and 15 years away, we'll add another 100,000 square feet of building and add more parking positions. So we'll have total aircraft parking positions. So this will increase our capabilities for charter business, air cargo charter business as well. So this is a plan that will be beginning later this year, in the new year coming up. So some of our current portfolio that you see on the airport, these are new warehouses that have been developed. The top is a rendering. This just opened up this year. Multiple warehouse and logistics buildings just south of the airport. And on the bottom, these are the warehouses that we have developed. As you can see, the runways just north of it. And these are right off the airport as well. So there's a lot of warehouse capacity on the airport. And then before we close out, I just want to mention the foreign trade zone. This is really, really significant, not only for the pharma sector, for any type of products or manufacturing. The foreign trade zone, any airport, any warehouse in the airport, around the airport, within 6 counties can be designated a foreign trade zone. We have the capability to do this for any company faster than any other airport and less expensive. So something to consider, and we can give you more details on that. So that wraps up the presentation. Thank you all for inviting me to speak and share a little bit about the airport and the DFW area.
Thank you, Milton. And now I would invite David Malenfant to ask a couple of tough questions. So Milton, watch out.
Yeah, Milton, thank you, Vinod, for the opportunity. But, you know, I've heard similar presentations from Miami, from Kansas City, from St. Louis, from Chicago. Why DFW, Texas, is a better logistics hub than these other cities?
Yeah, I think it goes back to something that no airport, no company can buy, and that's geography. So we have a central U.S. Location, or mid-continent location, if you will, and geography is very important because, like I said, it gives you that omnidirectional distribution radius. And historically, everything that came from Asia came into Los Angeles on the West Coast because it was the closest port, and then from the West Coast they would distribute all across the country. It takes you 3 to 4 days, and then likewise on the other side, everything that came from Europe traditionally came into the East Coast, and then you had a one-way distribution going all the way west, which could take you 3 to 4 days as well. Being in the middle of the country, everything can flow into the middle and distribute out equally. So you can cut your transit time down by 2 to 3 days at least. And then another important thing is climate. You know, climate is something that in logistics is very important. Delays are very expensive. And some of those airports, as you know, Dave, Chicago and New York, now, especially in winter, They get a lot of delays. You saw it on the slide I had about weather delays at airports. And then South Florida, unfortunately, I'm from there, but you have the hurricane season, which is also devastating to cargo and logistics. We have pretty, relative to those other areas you mentioned, we have very, very moderate climate, relatively speaking. It's, we hardly ever close down for a weather event. If we do, it's maybe for a day. And so the weather geography, things you can't buy, are really, really what makes us really a good airport.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Milton. But what you hear from others is in Texas, in the middle of the summer on the tarmac, if stuff sits there, it gets awfully, awfully hot. And because we've got a lot of pharmaceuticals that are coming through here, how do we deal with that? How do we deal with the heat of the Texas summer? When we talk about climate.
Right. So one way we deal with that, like I said, we have developed on airport airside cold chain facility, and we'll be employing cool dollies to transport from the aircraft into the cold chain facility. So you're not going to see, so the risk of temperature excursions are going to be minimized tremendously. We also have other reefer trucks capability on the airport. But I will mention, so cool dollies and our ability to invest. We do have resources to invest in. We're looking at bringing in cool dollies. We've been working with colleagues in Hyderabad and Mumbai. We've done a tour of their facilities. We think they do a wonderful job. We're going to be taking some tips from them and some guidance from them. They developed some cool dollies as well, and so we'll be bringing cool dollies onto the airport as well. But bear in mind, Dave, that those other places you mentioned, they're hot in the summertime as well. Texas is not the only hot state.
Yeah, but what I've been seeing at DFW as well is the speed of moving the freight. And getting on the airplane has really, over the last couple of years, has really improved. We don't see stuff sitting on the tarmac the way we used to, and I think that's a good benefit for DFW. Would you agree? Or
yes, that's a good point, and that's where when I was mentioning, we have this tremendous airfield capacity, and you're not seeing delays on the tarmac. You're not seeing delays in taxiing, and also getting from our cargo. Those aircrafts are parked right behind the cargo warehouses. If it's going onto a passenger aircraft, then they can get to the passenger terminal pretty efficiently as well. So we're doing everything we can to reduce those tarmac times and to get product in and out of the aircraft very, very effectively and as quickly as possible. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, so one of the things I've been hearing, though, because in your presentation you mentioned about how many companies are moving into the DFW area, which is fantastic for the DFW area. But then there's this discussion about new infrastructure, and is there going to be investment in infrastructure to keep DFW current and being able to keep it with the speed?
Yes, absolutely. There's tremendous investment going on. Airside alone, during the pandemic, we've taken the opportunity to upgrade a bunch of runways and taxiways and re-pour a lot of concrete and reinforce things. So we've done a lot of that during this pandemic. And so we also have a lot of capital investments in infrastructure and our bridges and everything. So we're keeping our infrastructure updated and being improved all the time. Now, and landside, we have the whole airport is 7,000, quite large, right? And so we have about half of that that's available for the development that you see going on. So this includes roads and infrastructure to get in and out. You can get from our cargo warehouse onto a major highway in about 2 minutes. It's very, very accessible in and out of the airport. And that accessibility in and out of the airport is also critical to an effective logistics airport, right? How fast you can get in and out of the highways and get those trucks moving. So So yeah, that's a good question, Dave, and we are working on that all the time.
Hey, Milton and Dave, really good session. I wish we had more time, but I think because of some technical difficulties earlier, we're a little bit of a crunch, and I need to hand the mic back to Dewani. Dewani, thank you for the opportunity. And if there's any questions from the public, please do send it in. And I think our email addresses are published, and do contact us. Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you,
Thank you,
sir.
Dave. Thank you, Milton.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.